Hey folks, how you doing out there? We've been away for a little bit, really busy. Michelle and I have been putting the finishing touches on some holiday gigs, and we got to play one together a couple days ago. It was a lot of fun with our friends Mark and Damien, both Drinking a Wink members. And what else has been going on? I just came back. Wasn't able to stay as much as I'd like, but I was at the Midwest Band and Orchestra Clinic once again. We missed a few people. John, we missed you greatly. And But I got to see my old. No, he's not old. His birthday is today. Still playing the marimba like a madman. Professor Johnny Lee Lane. That was fun. And I saw some other drinking and winkers in there. So there were a lot of people down at that convention in McCormick Place, but a good five or six, now that I think about it, are Drinking a Wink members. So maybe I'll have a booth because if you're a music educator, you always need a drink at some point, right? Today we're going to talk a little bit about kind of extend our winter dram series, and we're going to talk about this is like I think our third one. We're going to talk about two of what I would say is a classic example of a winter dram. Definitely holiday flavors, and we're going to talk about kind of the two flagships of Angel's Envy spirits. You might have heard of them. They're very you'll find a lot of their bottles in stores, not just liquor stores, but grocery stores and things like that. It's a very popular brand, partially because they are now owned by Bacardi. I'll get a little bit more into that. But we're going to talk about one of their first offerings, the very interesting and cool bottled, and one of Michelle's all-time favorites, the Angel's Envy Finished Rye, which is one of their earliest releases. And this rye is finished in Caribbean rum casks. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the bourbon. This is their flagship kind of beginner starter core range bourbon, which is finished in port barrels. So let me tell you a little bit about that. So if you haven't heard about, you've definitely heard of Angel's Envy. If you don't know their story, Lincoln Henderson, who's longtime Bourbon Hall of Famer, and his son, and I think this was in 2011. I'm just reading a little bit of notes. Decided to put this company together, and where they were going to start off very early doing some interesting things with spirits, and they were motivated to do finishing. I guess the point there was, like, who needs another Lincoln, Kentucky. I'm sorry, Lincoln, not Lincoln, Kentucky. Jeez Louise, I'm sorry. Let me find where did they put the another Kentucky. I'm sorry, I got a little distracted. Louisville. What's up? Oh, I got tongue tied. Michelle's over here. She's going to do some off camera sipping because Angel's Envy is one of your favorites, right? Early favorites, at least, right? And we'll see if it's still kind of holding up. So when they came out, I'll get this together. When they came out, they were doing finishing right out of the chute. Now, always remember that when you do that, you have to label it as bourbon, then finished. You can't say this is bourbon and not list that as finished. If you're finishing it in anything other than new oak, you kind of have to put that slight different clarification. Rye is a little different. Okay, so they can say rye whiskey finished in Caribbean rum cask, but you could just call it rye and list it somewhere else, and you'd be cool. But bourbon specifically has to have that nomenclature. Bourbon whiskey finished. So that's how it works. A little confusing, but go with it. So then, Lincoln Henderson passed away, and the son Wes did sell it to Bacardi in I think 2015. So they've been under Bacardi's leadership since I think 2015, 2016. They also did build a distillery in right there in Whiskey Row in Louisville, and yeah, that's it. If you do a little bit of math there, you do realize I just said they came on board in 2011, and then they built their distillery in 2015, or at least they opened the distillery in 2015. That means that in the early days, and still now, they're doing a good part of their stuff is sourced whiskey, and that means that it's coming from MGP, this company that is located in Indiana that does lots of producing spirits for use by other companies that will purchase it. That's what's called sourced. Now they have built that distillery, and now they're having some product of their own online. I understand now, kind of like High West did it, although High West moved to adding some of their spirit very, very early. Now they are doing some of their distillate along with the sourced, but it's not as much as what you might say. Like I said, I mentioned the High West or something like that. It's taken a little longer for that to happen, obviously. The other thing to keep in mind with that is as they have new offerings, sometimes that means that there'll be more of their whiskey in that. So from what I understand, they have a triple oak now that runs in the $60 to $70 range. That one is supposed to be more of their distillate, but not solely their distillate. So they're still sourcing it. But we don't have a big problem with that as long as they're kind of clear about that. They're not as clear about that actually as some, but it's all labeled correctly. When you read here, you're going to see handcrafted and bottled by Louisville Spirits Group, Louisville, Kentucky. That means if it doesn't say distilled, that means that this is a lot of sourced, okay, stuff. But that's okay. The other thing to note of this is, again, these finishings, they're very interesting. It's owned by Bacardi, so they're going to get a lot of coverage. They're going to be in stores. And, yeah, I mean, Bacardi, right? Okay. Their main flagship rye is aged in, finished in Caribbean rum barrels. So, you okay? Okay. You going to take a drink soon? Or do you want me to start with the bourbon first? Start with the bourbon first. So we'll talk about the bourbon first. Actually, the bourbon is something that I think I bought that in this year. So it could qualify as the whiskey experience of year. It will not be. But I really enjoyed it. The bourbon is bottled at 43.3%. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey finished in port wine barrels, okay? And that's why I liked it. I was really getting into the finished Scotch whiskey, finished everything. So I was like, I'm going to give this a try. I'll just read what's right here on the label. All bourbons are aged in charred white oak barrels, and in that respect, Angel's Envy is just like every other bourbon. However, unlike other bourbons, Angel's Envy is finished in Port Wine Casks, giving it a complex flavor that you won't find anywhere else. Discovered distilled descent. So that's kind of cool. I like that. And that is kind of a thing for big bourbon fans, that the kind of idea of finishing bourbon is a little bit, well, I don't think it's passé, or I don't think it's like you're doing any kind of, yeah, sometimes some bourbon purists just, all they want to, and you've got hundreds of other types to try. And I guess the triple oak probably would be more of a traditional bourbon. But I got it because I was interested in finishing, and I've been had been getting into port finished Scotch. Got 2 or 3 of those. I was like, oh, let me try this bourbon. On the nose is a little pale. It's not overpowering. I'm not drinking into some nosing glass. But yeah, you get a little bit of that port scent. The bourbon definitely is coming. You could definitely tell it's an MGP, meaning that it's more high corn than anything else. There isn't a high rye ratio in this, and why should there be? I have one more taste. The port finish comes through right on the taste, and that's going to be the same for the rye when we try it later. And it actually obscures the classic bourbon flavors a little bit, but it does give you this kind of cranberry grape note, not sweetened like the pure part of this. Okay, not sweetened at all. well, this is 0 calorie, but or 0 sugar, but you get it. Those kind of little bit of tartness on there that you don't get with, well, an unfinished bourbon. Does have kind of a raisiny quality as you get towards the middle of the palate. There is a little bit of an evergreen note, a little bit of a minty note. On the end, you do get that this has still been finished in American oak barrels, like it's supposed to be, charred white oak barrels. Kind of feels like a little bit of a heavy char on this, or a heavier char when you just yeah, you're definitely getting some charred oak notes in that. It's just really tasty. Moreover, it's got a brittle. Not like brittle, like it's easy to break. It like not peanut brittle, but like that like charred bark. I'm talking about the dessert, that kind of thing, with real dark chocolate. It has a little note of that. It's very interesting. I really do dig this one. It's not overpowering, and it's only at 43.3%. But in terms of holiday flavors, you want to, for me, this is just me, Thanksgiving time, regular classic old bourbon is perfect, right, with all those kind of flavors. Now when we're talking about, I think our culture, this hodgepodge of cultures, I think we don't have the exact definitive dinner of Christmas like we do Thanksgiving. This one really fits it, and it has a little taste. You could eat it with the meal. It also could hold up to at dessert times. I really like it. Like I said, nothing outstanding, but as a diversion from just regular straight down the middle bourbon, I like it a lot. Don't know that it's terribly inventive or anything like that, but it just has a nice little note. I don't know that I would buy the full bottle of this one, but they do offer this one and pretty easy to find 375 milliliter bottles. And that's the one I bought right here. That's why this bottle looks so small. I might buy another one of the smaller bottles and bring it with to where we're headed for the holidays. It's a nice little, bottle. Really enjoy it. If you're a bourbon fan, but you're, feeling a little bit interested in experimenting, go for it. It's very easy drinking, but it does have some complexity to it. Maybe if it was up at 46%, I would get a little more enthused about it. However, on this one, what's interesting is generally priced at, I wrote this down, usually $50 for the full bottle. Right now it's on sale here in this area, $10 off. So that maybe the big bottle will be good. The half bottle is just half price. It's usually about $25. That's also often found on sale. So now we're going to talk about kind of the first one that we ever experienced, and their main flagship bottling, which is really cool. It has these wings in the back of the bottle. It's kind of a decal, I think. It's not etched into the glass, obviously, but nice effect. What would you say, Michelle, when you were starting to drink rye? What was this, like the first, second, or third, or fourth that we bought? We bought, whatever. It was within that, though, right?
Yeah, it was within the first 5.
Maybe Journeyman was before this? Maybe? Or no?
No, I think this might have been before Journeyman.
Okay, so this, yeah. So, but you had this out at the Fountainhead?
Yes, that's where I was first introduced to this.
So Michelle had to explain to me what prepared juice means today. So I am completely lost sometimes. But I do remember some things. One of them is that you had this out. I don't think I was with you when you had this, right?
No.
Okay. You had this and you liked it. You got a bottle a little later, right? And we've enjoyed it. And it seems to be always around. I think this is our second bottle.
I was gifted a bottle.
Oh.
Wasn't I gifted the first bottle, or was it the second bottle?
You were gifted twice. So this is always around, I think.
Yeah.
We bought one, though, didn't we?
I thought we bought one.
Okay. People are very generous for us, and we love it. And we love their things. So we still have another one in the hangar, so to speak. Now, let me tell you about this rye. This rye is what we like. This is a So even though this is sourced, this rye is a 95% rye, 5% malted barley mash bill. That's the kind of stuff that Michelle and I just love, right? We like that high rye element. For me, I know this is going to be we're gonna it. I've always given this a chance. For me, the rye component on this is a little too much for me. I'm just saying. And what's funny about it is when it comes in, I'll give you my notes first. On the nose, it's like maple syrup pops through. They mentioned cognac, even though that wasn't Asian cognac, but they mentioned those flavors. There's nothing wrong with this scent. It's very inviting. It smells desserty to me a little bit. It's just hard to find the rye in the nose, and when I taste it, there is a big bash to me of French toast, maple syrup, confectioner's sugar, and then when that passes, maybe after 5 seconds or so, before it starts to kind of finish, then I all of a sudden get this really nice rye, heavy rye sweetness, or high spicy, rye spiciness. This is just me. It's not going to cloud Michelle's opinion. It's very, very tasty. It has a very rich, thick mouthfeel. And I don't know if when they're doing this, are they like taking Bacardi rum casks that are literally just dumped it? It's still like really, really juicy. Almost essentially adding rum to this versus doing it in a cask. I don't know. But to me, it's just a lot of rum, and I don't mind that. It just, as I can say, as my shape fills out, and I should have been losing some weight before we get into the holidays. The only time I show any kind of self-control when it comes to sweets is when I'm drinking spirits. I don't like something overly sweet, but it is darn tasty, rich. Just to me, it's a little too much of the rye. The rum influence. Michelle, you want to move a little closer to the mic though, so we can hear you? You want to just give me your. You got anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's thick, it's syrupy, it's, everything in terms of what you were talking about, possible cognac or rum, or it's like we've talked about before with this one. It's uncharacteristic rye.
Okay.
It just, I mean, maybe we know it's rye because we've had rye, had enough rye, but I think to someone, if this was someone's first rye whiskey and they liked it, they'd probably be surprised the next time they drink another type of rye. I do have to say though, because this one, that bottle's almost empty now.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if there's a certain taste right now of whatever you talk about in terms of like when you're towards the end of the bottle, because things change. It's changing.
Okay.
So I'm curious as to what a freshly opened bottle.
You want to go grab one? No, maybe that's what I'm getting is that like it's a little flat. Maybe is that what you're trying to say? Yeah, or maybe that rye spice has been dulled a little bit.
Yeah, somewhat, but just something I don't know, just gets more concentrated in its kind of sweeter notes, its caramel notes, and just that kind of taste. It just feels like, oh, this has been there for a little bit.
Okay, that's not a bad idea. Yeah. I should mention that there is a bit of a hint of a cola note on this one too, right? Which is interesting. Don't always get that in bourbon, but that I really enjoy it. It's very good. The other thing that we might just be forgetting is this is bottled at 50%. You know, so it's going to have more flavor. That's the way we like it. I've never watered this, and I don't know that I want to now, but that might be a little bit interesting to add a drop or two of water into it. This still is an outstanding rye. It's just, again, this is my personal taste. This is a little sweet for me. And if you like sweet American whiskey, like, the sweeter side, maybe more some of the wheated bourbons and some of the ryes that are more in the just barely rye kind of thing. Yeah, this might be good for you, meaning it's more leaning on the corn sweetness. But it just, for us now, and again, the first time I had this, I maybe had 4 ryes in my life, maybe not even that many, and now I've had many more. And Michelle started, right out of the chute enjoying rye. I have come to love it. In the beginning, I was kind of like, eh, and now I love it. And we are. This is our rye up here on this top shelf. Right, it stops right there. We got a lot of rye, and Michelle rolled her eyes. She didn't, but I know she wants to do on the inside. I've really kind of, I really like it. It really knocks me out now. But this one is perfect for holiday stuff. But it's kind of, to me, I would say it's kind of a dessert whiskey. Would you drink? I mean, let's put it this way: would you enjoy this before you eat the salad or the pre-main course at Christmas?
And if I'm honest, I have offered this to people along with really rich chocolate chip cookies.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, are you making those cookies this year?
So I have not thought about it.
What is a cookie? The killer cookie?
That's the evil cookie, triple chocolate chip, brown butter, Nutella stuffed chocolate chip cookie.
Triple cum butter, Nutella, sugar piles. You did a low calorie of that one once though, right?
Yes.
It was just as good. She said she doesn't think so. It was just as good. So she, because we all have to watch our sugar intake, right? Yeah, that cookie. You need to get a hold of that cookie. Maybe we'll actually put the recipe up under this one. Would you be okay with that?
I mean, it's not my recipe.
Okay, well then. Okay, so come back later if you made it this far. We're gonna, in a couple of minutes, we're gonna post that recipe a little bit. All right? I think we've done that once before here.
Maybe.
But the sea salt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, these cookies. Oh, they'll make you cry. They make a blind man see again. But then lose it because well, I don't want to go with it. Yeah. All right. Here he is. I don't like this stuff so much, and I'm pouring another one. No, I'm kidding. This is really nice stuff. Remember, again, this is 50%, so this price tag is quite high. Now, I just clocked it, Michelle, at regular price of $76.99. That actually sounds a little lower than it used to be. No.
It's lower than it used to be.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting.
100 back in.
Okay, yeah, so they have lowered the price a little bit. That might also be because I know American whiskeys and the bourbon, all these kind of that owned by bigger companies, they're taking a hit right now in terms of sales. Overall sales are good. I don't know why that's the case. I won't get political about it. I don't know, maybe everyone, the guy says he doesn't drink at all. Every other thing he does, but he doesn't drink. I don't drink. No. So maybe that's why people are doing it. I don't know. Have a drink, folks. Lighten up, all right? But anyway, maybe that's why the price is down. But yeah, that's the lowest I've ever seen this at, which is weird. With all whiskey prices just kind of fluctuating all over the place. I don't know. I'll type the ratings in here. Like I said, I think the Port Finished bourbon is a real nice choice. For holiday drinking. It might also be kind of tame enough and interesting enough, even though it has the finish, to be a little bit of a cool entry point. So if you're having a party or you're going to a party, and you have some maybe whiskey shy drinkers that aren't sure they like it, this would be a great entry point. Angel's Envy probably is an entry point for new whiskey drinkers, right? But for experienced whiskey drinkers, this is a very fascinating little turn. In terms of ratings, I don't think I'm going to give a rating, but in terms of how, like I said, our little goal here, holiday drams, I think these really work, right? Both of these. Do you want to have just a little nudge of the bourbon? Because I'd just like to see if you like it or not. Because I know you have kind of like a binary switch. Bourbon yes, bourbon no. That's finished in port barrels, and it's a little lighter ABV, only 43. There you go. One thing about this being owned by Bacardi, what do you say?
Um, I'm having a hard time having an opinion right now.
Okay.
It's not a hard no, like
Okay.
it's normally with bourbons, and
Mhm.
I don't think it was kind of slow. It was slow to bourbon on me, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that's a good thing. Yeah, there you go. I don't know what we're going to pull out yet for our next little choice in terms of how. Do you have anything ideas of like how what next you got as a holiday whiskey that we have? Um,
Nothing else.
yeah, I don't know that we've done anything Irish yet. Maybe the. Well, think about it. You know, and yeah, that's it. And again, you know, part of the thing is let's if you have anything favorites that kind of fit in this mindset, and it doesn't always have to be sweet, you know, it could also be something that just has a nice complementary taste to something. Uh, we'll see. So we're going to put our heads together and get a couple more out. Also, I have made my decision on what my whiskey experience of the year is. Still waiting on the value whiskey of the year, and we don't have any hard and fast criterion on what that's supposed to be, value whiskey, but we try to think of something that you know, in the like I say under 28, under 30 range, that really punches above its weight class. But in terms of my whiskey experience of the year, I've made my decision. I hope Michelle will agree with me. But you know, this is mostly my channel, so I think I'll take that one on my own. But I know that she likes the stuff that we're gonna pick. It's gonna be a little different, but we'll talk about it. Yeah, cool. In this year of our Lord, moving into 2026 AD, right? That's a hint. It's a hint on what I'm going to pick for whiskey experience of the year. I mean, you bought me one of the bottles of it, so. Now she gets it. I'm so glad she got it because no one else does. I get that a lot. I am getting pretty deep on that kind of stuff. Cool. All right. We'll see you soon. Getting ready for the holidays. Chills in the air. Rum is, you know what? The Angel's Envy. Now that I'm having it, and now that I've had a little bit, yeah, I get a little bit more of the rye from the beginning. At the first drink, it's just so. I mean, who doesn't like French toast, maple syrup, and confectioner sugar, right? This is good. All right, folks, we're out. Angel's Envy. That has to do with, well, Angel's Envy has to do with what they call the angel share. When you put whiskey in a barrel, there is an evaporation process. If it's acting properly, where the barrel kind of expands and contracts, and then alcohol will, what is it? What's the word? Sorry, I went out of nerd mode. Evaporate more quickly. So when you fill a barrel with alcohol, after a short time, it'll actually evaporate inside because it is breathing if it's doing its job. So the angel share is the amount of distillate that is lost to the air in that after I can't do that nerd voice forever. whiskey. Nerd.